Why is that? Because they first of all, they think sex is love, but it's like a drug. And then once they have it, it becomes like they don't get the same high from it, so they have to have a new woman to try to get higher. It's like the first time you do cocaine, you get really high, but then after a while, that first shot get old, and now you need something new to make you feel better. They think they'll feel better when they. It's like a drug to them. But don't worry, you're not gonna do it.
I hope he's gonna be here one day to actually meet you in person.
Right on. Nice. Well, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Are you leaving now? Oh, okay. All right. Thanks for coming, all right? Okay. Hey, Marcus. Hey. You don't want to sit over here somewhere? You want to sit by yourself?
You want the mustache? You just gotta start showing where you think that you want the hair now, and they'll start coming. Yeah.
Okay.
He's the only person I've ever known to phone just sign.
Thank you.
Hey, autumn special. Good morning, welcome to church. All right, no food and drinks, please, in here. Cell phones on silent, please. And bathroom is outside that door to the left, if you don't know. Anyone in the back want to move up for the lollygaggers and the people that come in later? See, I fixed it from last week. And it is a fellowship. When it comes around, if you don't know, you keep it about this far in distance. And that's all. Take it away, Jesse. Hey. Halloween.
Yes.
What? Oh. Good morning. Welcome to church. I'm Jesse Peterson. Thank you for being with me. You can get involved by going to our YouTube chat line, and they will pass on your questions or comments for me, all right? Thank you for your support. I do appreciate it. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. How y'all? So I was looking at this, a while back, I meant to tell you about it, this movie. And this woman left her husband because he was so nice to her. But it was a fake nice, it wasn't real. He would tell her how wonderful she was, how great she was, how strong she was, and she hated that. And so finally, he came home and one day from work, and he was telling her how much he loved her. Oh, I love you so much. She's like, I don't love you, I hate you. And he's like, but I love you, I hate you. And he's like, why? Because you're so weak. You lied to me. All you do is lie to me. Well, what do you mean? I lied to you. You always tell me how strong I am and how wonderful I am and how this, and it's not true. I'm not that way. I curse at you. I hate you. I don't like being close to you. And he was like, but honey, you're so strong. You're a strong woman. And she like, no, I'm not. Look how you lying. You lying to me. And she left him because he was a liar. He was being weak. Isn't that amazing? And I bring that story up because that is everybody on earth. Everybody lied to one another. In marriages and in everything. Nothing but lies. Isn't that amazing? The government lied to one another. And they want to take power away from one another. They'll attack another country. And then they'll pretend that country is bad, but what they really want to do is control the country. And the country don't want to be controlled, so they fight back. Human nature is a mess. That's why we have to overcome human nature, all right? We have to rise above that. And so you're going to have to take control of your own life. As a matter of fact, at the end of the meeting today, I'm going to give you an exercise I want you to practice for a week and see how it works out for you, all right? Any questions or comments on anybody about anything before I get rolling? Anybody here for the first time? One. Good morning. Tell us your name and where you're from and how did you hear about us?
Hi, everybody.
Speak up a little louder.
Does it work?
Yeah, you just have to speak louder.
Oh, okay. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I'm Cara. I'm actually live in Singapore. I'm just here to visit.
Singapore, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Something wrong with the mic? Something wrong with that mic, they're going to adjust it.
All right.
Oh,
Okay.
that's
How
better.
about now? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, my
So you're here
boyfriend.
from Singapore,
Yes.
and how did you hear about us?
My boyfriend follows you
Oh, okay.
religiously.
Amazing.
Actually, we were together for a very long time, and he was not a believer in like marriage.
He does not
so-
believe in marriage?
He was not a believer in marriage
Really?
at all for the longest time. But last year,
Speak
so
up a
so
little
last year
louder.
we broke up.
Speak from the chest.
All right. So last year we broke up,
Right.
and after like 6 months, I think he was like looking for something on the internet just to help him go through that period of time, and he found you. So I think he watched all of the videos you have, and then obviously that changed his mind. So he came back to me. He wants to get back together, and yeah, I mean now we're trying. I think it's working, and I would say thank you.
Right on. You guys going to get married?
I think so.
Nice. Right on.
Thank
Well,
you.
welcome, all right?
Thank you. I wish I could stay longer, but unfortunately my cousin's
catch
waiting
a
for me
flight,
outside. I
yeah.
have to leave in a few minutes.
Well, it's good to meet you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Amazing.
All right.
Nick, where's Nick? You have those scriptures?
Yes, I do.
So we open up Bible thumping Thursday with these scriptures because nowhere in the Bible, as far as I know, where it says that the Bible is the Word of God. I know people say it, but I've never read. Anybody ever read that in the Bible, where it says the Bible is the Word of God? No one? Oh, okay. But the Bible does tell you where to find it. And go ahead.
Yeah. So this first scripture here from Jeremiah 31, verses 33 to 34, says, "This is the covenant I will make with the people of Israel after that time, declares the Lord. I will put my law in their mind and write it on their hearts. I will be their God, and they will be my people." This is another one, Deuteronomy.
Write it on their hearts. The Word is within us. It's already with us. But as long as you look on the outside, you would never know that. And you can read the Bible till the cows come home. You can call it the Word of God. It is the Word from God, but it's not the Word of God. The Word of God is in the heart. Go ahead. The kingdom of heaven is within.
In Deuteronomy, Moses is talking. Deuteronomy 30, verses 12 to 14. "It is not up in heaven so that you have to ask, who will ascend into heaven to get it and proclaim it to us so we may obey it? Nor is it beyond the sea, so that you have to ask, who will cross the sea to get it and proclaim it to us so we may obey it? No, the word is very near you. It is in your mouth and in your heart, so you may obey it.
Amazing, huh? Isn't that amazing? It's not up in the air, in the sky. It's not across the sea. It's not over the mountain. It's with us. And yet, human beings live as though it doesn't even exist. Amazing, looking everywhere but within. Mind blowing. One more.
Yeah, 1 John 2, verse 27. You have received the Holy Spirit, and he lives within you, in your hearts, so that you don't need anyone to teach you what is right. For he teaches you all things, and he is the truth and no liar.
Amazing. We have the teacher within, and he will teach us all things. But we've been corrupt by allowing other people to teach us without, and so we don't trust the teacher within. We don't even know we have him. And so we go through life in the darkness, not trusting the teacher within. Amazing. Thank you, Nick. Yes, sir.
Good day, Jesse. You said how the world's currently messed up right now. But it's this, I may have found a terrifying example. You may have heard 2 days ago that over 150 people were killed and such as were injured when a massive throng of people in a Halloween festival in Korea was crushing everybody.
What? Slow down, man.
There was a massive in Seoul, Korea. There was a massive Halloween celebration. I guess people were so caught up to know how crowded the place was, and as a result, over 150 people were killed, and probably just as much were injured when they were crushed to death or injured.
They were in a building, you say?
They were outside.
Oh. And the building fell on them?
No, it's not the building. People were running. It was too crowded out in the area.
Oh, it was a stampede.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Nice.
That's why I always caution about people celebrating Halloween or any other holiday, because it seems like they always get caught up in those excitement.
Oh, amazing. Well, thanks for that. Any questions? So I want to get to the biblical question for this week. Is there such a thing as verbal or emotional abuse? Is there such a thing? Right here.
I mean, yeah, I suppose not, because you shouldn't take anything personal. So,
Speak up.
I suppose not, because we shouldn't take anything personal.
So you're saying no, there is no such thing as verbal or emotional abuse?
Yeah, but I mean, worldly wise, there is, obviously.
What do you mean?
People get hurt if if there's
Speak up a little bit.
if there's gossip, for instance, that would be, somebody could take that as some sort of verbal abuse, or that could weigh on somebody. It could be emotional abuse.
And why? How would they know they're being emotional abused?
I mean, say for instance, if I hear something, if somebody's constantly, if I'm going to work or something and somebody's constantly berating me, and I'm doing my job, or I'm taking care of business, I feel like I don't deserve that negativity.
Oh,
then
I
I
see.
could be like, okay, this person's verbally abusing me.
And would you feel it?
Yeah, I would feel it.
And what would it feel like?
It would feel, I don't know, it would just make you feel bad. It'll make you feel down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you were at work, you were doing your job,
Yeah.
but someone was constantly yelling at you and blah, blah, blah.
Or if you're going home, you have a spouse, or if it's just any sort of friendship, it could be whatever, just somebody's really going at it, and then you feel like it's undeserved, I suppose.
And so it would be a feeling of undeserved.
Yeah, you get you probably feel like a pit in your stomach, or you know how you feel when
And what would the feeling be?
it would just be a bad feeling,
Oh, okay.
a bad feeling.
And where would that feeling come from?
It would come from you thinking that that person is slighting you, so it would come from your thoughts, and it's just making you, you know,
Oh, okay. And how should you handle that?
I mean, you should let it go.
Not beat them up?
Yeah. If
Or
they
curse
deserve
them
it.
out?
No, don't do that.
Why not?
Because it's wrong. It's just, you know, two wrongs don't make it right, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yep.
Did you have your hand? So is there such a thing as verbal or emotional abuse?
No,
And why do you say no? So
'Cause-
it doesn't exist at all?
no.
And why do you say no?
Because sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me. I know you heard that before.
But would you feel the sticks and stones?
So, no. What happens, what my interpretation of what society would say emotional abuse would be, is if somebody says something to you that offends you and it hurts your feelings. But now that God is starting to shine the light in my life, I know that, like he said, it comes from thoughts, and that's how you become emotional about it. And I've experienced that before, where somebody said things to me and it hurt my feelings, but even back then, like, I didn't consider it emotional abuse.
What'd you call it then?
I didn't call it anything. I just felt like, oh, my feelings were hurt. I didn't feel like it was emotional abuse. And now I know that it stems from thoughts. Thinking about whatever they said to offend you or make your feelings hurt. But that's basically living in your emotions. And it's also,
So when you're feeling hurt now, how do you deal with it?
I don't longer live in my emotions because I know that it's brought on by thoughts. And I watch the
when someone hurts
thoughts.
your feelings now, what do?
I haven't had my feelings hurt.
You
I
know?
haven't had my feelings hurt since God has started to shine the light in my life.
Okay.
Because I know that it's emotions and I know that it's from thoughts. And if it's coming from somebody else, it's believing in somebody else's thoughts that they're projecting upon you. So,
Okay. Right here. And then over there.
When you asked
Is
this
there
question,
such a thing as verbal or emotional abuse?
no. When you asked this in the beginning of the week, I thought not for adults, but for children, like some callers had also answered. But I'm thinking now, when you're under the protection of and love of the Father, even children aren't subject to emotional abuse. So I'd say it's an illusion.
And so have you ever felt emotional or verbal abuse?
Totally.
And what did it feel like?
It feels, I don't know, enraging. You feel helpless. You feel like you have to do something. And I guess it's just the ego dying. And so I feel sort of two different things these days when it happens. There's a side of me that wants to fight it and try to control the situation and, you know, get back at the person. And then there's another side of me that tries to understand. And I think that's what eventually will let the ego die.
So you do feel it sometime now,
Yeah.
but you just don't deal with it?
I try to just watch it,
Oh, okay.
just observe. But
All right.
yeah, it's there's still a lot of ego that needs to die.
Did you go and forgive your mother?
She died before I could, so I try to forgive her by paying attention.
How about your father?
I did forgive him.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we have a great relationship now.
Right on. Amazing. Yes, sir.
Hi, I have a question. Oh boy. I do believe in emotional and verbal
So
abuse.
You believe there is such a thing as verbal
Yes,
and emotional abuse?
Yes, I do. And I'm going to give an example. Like, first, my question would be, how do you deal with a 19-year-old son if he's extremely angry and rebellious? Basically abuse toward dad. For example, he sends me 2 texts saying, F word you, dad. That's one text. And then the second text is, you're the biggest fool I know, dad. How do you respond to that? My basic response was, I sent him a text back saying, that's not an adult response. I mean, that's the only one I could figure out. Of course, it infuriated me, and he's rebellious and angry right now. And it's like, I don't know how to respond. If anybody's got a better response than saying, he seemed to, I mean, I told him, like, you're choosing to be a victim. I goes, he was kind of shocked that I said that. I goes, it's your choice to be a victim. It says, you're 18 plus. I'm not doing anything to you. I'm trying to help, and, this is all the stuff I try to get,
So is he verbally and emotionally abusing you?
Well, yeah, with these 2 texts. I mean, how do you feel if you get 2 texts like that and you're a dad?
And so what did the verbal abuse feel like?
It's infuriating.
And what did the emotional feel like?
Exactly, infuriating.
And describe it, the feeling.
I mean, it's like, I raised this kid from, kindergarten to 18. Well, 18, and then it's like, what the heck? I'm getting dumped on like this. I know it's part of the rebellious phase, it's like,
what does the feeling feel like?
Shock. I'm
Is it
shock and
painful?
awe. Like I'm being bombed by,
Is it
like
painful?
a bomb. Yeah, it's painful.
And what does the pain feel like?
I feel hurt as a parent.
And what does the hurt feel like?
What does hurt feel like? I mean, if it's depressing, it causes me like, okay, he's like almost trying to sink me, like I'm going, what the heck's going on with my boy?
And so is he sinking you?
He's got me in depression. I'm trying to get out of it. I'm pretty successful right now trying to get out of it, right? It's like, but the devil's having his little ways with me, and I'm going, oh my goodness.
So you say you're depressed now?
No, I mean, I'm trying to overcome it because there's so many things that are going wrong right now, and I'm going, okay, like Jesse says, I have to endure, and then I will overcome.
What does depression feel like?
Depression, you're sleeping more, a lot more, right? And it's like, you're trying to go, oh my gosh, how am I going to get out of this hole? It's like ridiculous. And it's like, I'm a parent of he's my only child. I mean, your only child rejecting you. I goes, if I had 3, I'd be like, okay. One's rejecting me, but 2 are fine, But if it's only 1, it's like, oh man. So like, it's like.
Why don't you treat the 1 in the same way if you had 3 and 1 would,
I know,
you just
but
say, okay, fine.
It's,
why not treat
it's
the,
more like
why not
laser
treat
pointed.
the 1 like that?
It's more like having a laser pointed at you. It's like extremely intense, extremely painful. It's shocking. It's like, man, my son's rejecting me.
Nick want to tell you how to handle it.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
He want to tell you.
Okay, go ahead. Here. Sorry about that.
It's amazing. So, that's amazing. Test. Is this working? Yeah. Oh, okay. So, what's amazing is like how much you're thinking about all that. You know what it is? I'll say this. Hearing your story has proven to me more that when people like lash out and people are even saying things about you to you, they're not really even saying them to you. They're like angry themselves. They got their own thing, and And so that's what like your son is doing. So when your son is like telling you, "Oh, you're the biggest fool I know," you tell him, "Yeah, you're right, and I raised the fool." No, but on a more serious note, it really is just what we talk about like every Sunday. Do nothing. Do nothing, and just like go through that pain, feel it, go through it, and because there's nothing you could do. You know, I go through stuff like that myself.
Okay. Yes, the. Oh, okay.
As a teenager at one point, I knew that.
Did you say you were a teenager at one point? How many years ago? Like 100 years ago. You remember that? Amazing. Go ahead.
I knew that I didn't, there was a point where I didn't want my parents telling me what to do and how to do it and all that. There just comes a time where you just want to do things on your own. So what I would say is back off. He's 18. It's not like he's 14.
That might not working?
Keep going.
Now you just blew my whole train of thought. So I would say, to kind of recap, I would say back off of him. It's not like he's 12 or something like that. He's 18. 19, that's even more. Let him make his own decisions. Let him fail a little bit. When he needs you, he'll come to you. But if I don't know what the situation is necessarily, but a lot of times teenagers, they just need a little space. They just need to be left alone, and so that they can go out and make things their way.
So you're suggesting that he leave it alone?
I suggest that he backs off his son, and I would have never responded to my son at that point.
What do you think about that?
I disagree. I
And
mean,
why?
I can, okay, I do back off, but like, I'm not going to be, I'm trying not to be a victim. I'm trying not to be beta. And I think before I never responded with a text, like I couldn't get an appropriate response, but saying that's not an adult response just shocked me. And I think that was the best response I could actually think of without using swear words dramatically at him and telling him he's an ungrateful son. But I agree with Nick as well. Sometimes you have to do nothing. And of course, I agree with you saying you have to endure the pain, and there's light at the end of the tunnel, and trusting God. I'm learning to trust more in God, but it's just like when you're in the pit of parenting, excuse my language for saying that, it's kind of a shock. I mean, you know, it's like...
Let me ask, are you surprised that your son is acting just like you?
I don't think I was... God, I don't think I was that rebellious as a teenager. I mean...
Are you surprised he's acting like you?
You mean emotional?
Everything, yes.
Ooh. Okay, so I have to model unemotional behavior for him to be unemotional.
Absolutely.
So I guess we're both being beta now.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess guilty as charged.
And so he's doing you a favor by treating you this way so you can see that you have all this emotional stuff that you have to overcome and that he's just like you. So what you should do is apologize for the way you raised him and leave him alone. And you find your way and let him find his way. And when he's ready, he'll come back to you.
Yeah, he
But
wrote
as
me
long
off.
as you fighting back and forth with him, you're just adding to his hell and he's adding to yours. You're not a good example for him. You need to be an example.
Yeah,
All he's doing is showing you what you've done to him.
Oh, goodness, it's hard to be treated like crap as a parent.
How do you think he feels?
But you're not, he feels the same way you feel. it's hard to be treated as a young adult son like that, coming from his father or mother.
He's just around a toxic environment and he can't get out of it.
Right, because you're that toxic environment.
Well, he's with other family right now.
And with you too, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
You're just like the family he's living with.
Well, he's living with 3 devils now. All
Plus
female.
one. Plus one, you're acting the same way. When he comes into your world is the same as his world and the people around him world. You're no different.
So I got to be a better example.
Yes.
Oh boy. Okay. Okay, I got to stop being so emotional because it just feeds the fire, I guess.
You notice how you say that he's living with those women that are like that, but you don't see you're the same way.
Yeah. Okay. Beta male, I guess.
Beta male for sure.
Yeah. I'm trying to overcome. I'm trying to overcome.
And so when he dump on you like that, let him dump on you. But leave him alone.
Yeah. He's just going through severe depression.
And so are you.
Not as bad as him, but.
Depression is suppression.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, we're both going through hellholes right now. Yeah, I guess, but I realized more that, like you say, you have to endure, and he's like giving up. And it was like, oh.
And so have you given up too, because if you were enduring, you wouldn't be reacting.
I guess that's the woman in me.
All the way. It's the devil in you.
Yeah, you're right, the devil in me. Yeah. Yeah.
All right?
Okay.
So leave him, as people have suggested, leave him alone, and you get yourself right. And when he does come into your world, at least it'll be a world of love and not a world of hate.
Yes, I have to be a better example. Guilty as charged.
All right. Amazing.
Thanks.
Did you have your hand about what is the is there such a thing as verbal or emotional abuse?
No. No, there isn't.
There's no such thing as verbal abuse?
No.
And why do you say no?
I guess because when it comes to words, emotional attacks, verbal attacks, it's more on you, the receiver of, right? You're the target. Let's say you perceive yourself as a target. It's more on you to not really like receive or even entertain those things. And if it is real, if somebody attacks you with something that hits close to home, like what we were just talking about, it is best to sit in it and be, I've personally learned on my journey right now is like, it's better to sit with it and in time come to learn to be thankful for these people who maybe they're lying, maybe they're being
Let me
honest.
just to be clear, are you saying that verbal abuse does exist?
I think that people of the world might describe
Give me
verbal
like
emotional
a yes
abuse.
or no first.
I told you,
Do
no, I don't think it exists.
Do you think that, so it doesn't exist?
I 100% don't think it exists.
And why do you think that?
Because it's on how you receive such a moment, an interaction, right? I can't be made to feel anything by you. You could say everything towards me, but I'm the one in control of how I react to that, right? If I'm thankful that you're exposing a weakness within me or without of me, like, right? That's a good thing. And as long as I can acknowledge it, I can grow from it. But if I can't see it, if I'm not looking at myself and seeing how these things affect me, like, I'm going to get hurt because I'm going to think someone else outside of me is in charge of how I feel.
Is there such a thing as emotional abuse?
No, I think it's the same way.
What do you mean?
I think it's about the person who is feeling targeted or receiving this abuse, as we're calling it right now. If you can see yourself and you can in turn see others, you won't be affected. Somebody will say something like, you're a bad father, and you'll say,
what do you mean by if you can just see yourself?
If you can see yourself, then you can see the not you, as we call it here in church, right? And if you can see the not you, in my experience, you can also see the same thing, right, that you talk about. It's a big thing we go over, that same thing happening outside of you in someone else. And if that's coming towards you in the form of what we would call an emotional or abuse, then I would say it's about recognizing that that person is not in control or an authority on what you are.
Have you ever been verbal or emotional abused?
In my life?
Yes.
In my life, I've experienced what we would describe as emotional abuse or
And what did
verbal
it feel-
abuse. And
What did it feel like?
I'm glad you asked. It felt, all the different ways we're describing it, felt like sad or angry. Really what it felt like, though, is that I felt like I had no control. Someone else was telling me who I was, how I was, what I was. And by giving that power to them, by not seeing that they don't have power to determine that, I allowed them to take all the control of my emotions, of my personal self, and just run with it. And I felt incomplete, empty,
And so
powerless.
do you feel like you have control now?
I don't have control now. I just give control to God, and that light that I receive from regular practice of that allows me to see other people when they're coming at me with this, right, like you call a devil looking for another devil to lock horns with. Like, I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
You're not an authority over me, so you don't get to affect me emotionally or, verbally or spiritually. Like, I'm locked in.
Okay. The young lady right next to you. Yes, ma'am.
I don't remember his name. Alex. I have an older daughter that did the same thing his son would do. And what I did is I just blocked her on my phone. I would block her. She would go on a rampage. And rather than to take the words that she was, attacking with, I just blocked the phone.
And why did you block the
I
phone
blocked her
rather
because
than
she
listen
was-
to her words?
Because she was out of control. She was just spewing anything that came out of her mouth negative towards me. And I think that we always hurt the people we love the most because we know they're not going to leave. So I always felt like, you know what, I'm not your victim here. So she would always attack with words to me.
And so
knowing
what
that
was it about it that made you block the phone? Block
they were
her?
ugly and I didn't deserve them. So rather than
And why didn't you deserve them?
because she was just lashing out. There was nothing.
Even though she was giving you back you, because she got all that from you.
Yeah, it was me. It was
Did
me.
she deserve it?
Did she deserve it? No, not at all.
And so why would you block her then if she's...
Because I had already, having apologized to her, knowing what I had put my children through, I can't go backwards. All I can do is go, live in the now. So I just, if she's going to act the way she's going to act, I can't control that. I can control my phone. I can control listening to it. And so it's, and then the next day, she understands. Or, she can see it on her own. But at that moment, I don't think they can see it.
So she called you up and said, I see it now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Were you being abused when she was doing that? Emotionally or verbally?
I used to take it and feel like I was abused. Yeah. Yes, but not anymore.
So when she does it now, at the time it's happening before you block her, are you feeling verbally and emotionally abused?
No, I just let it go. I just let it go, and I don't allow verbal abuse or emotional abuse to come in my zone. I just don't.
Why, and why is that?
Because most of the time it's just a feeling, and I don't know. I don't need it. I don't need that.
And why not?
Especially from somebody else. If I was going through it, yeah, I don't need it.
And why don't you need it from someone else?
Why don't I need it? Because I'm living for me, not for them. They're grown they're grown children.
Did you say
And-
ass? Aren't we in church?
I'm sorry. I was going to say they're grown children, but they're grown adults. And
Sorry, kids.
they need to learn. I'm sorry. They need to learn.
We have
to,
sinners in the church.
They need to learn to deal with, she needs to learn to deal with her anger.
Okay. And so you won't let that in your
No.
space because you don't want.
It's, yeah, I don't want to, I don't have that feeling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. This young lady want to respond to it right here. Is there such a thing as verbal or emotional abuse?
I used to think that there was, but
And why did you think it beforehand?
because I experienced it, or so I thought I did.
And what did it feel like?
Sad, I don't know, uncomfortable. I felt hurt, you know. You hurt me.
Right. And now you don't feel that way?
No, because I recognize now that kind of what Alex was saying about like, oh, I feel depressed. I recognize that in my life, I would have moments where I'd wake up and I'd have this thought, oh, I feel depressed today. And so then I would take that thought and like be like, oh, this is true, I do feel depressed. But now I see that all day I'm having these thoughts, but it's just whether or not I choose to accept them as truth or and act on them.
Okay.
So to answer your question, no, I don't think that emotional or what was the other one? Physical?
Verbal.
Verbal abuse is real.
When the last time you felt something from either one of them, verbal or emotional?
I would say maybe like 6 months ago, probably, because I hadn't fully understood, you know, the all thoughts are all lies all the time. So I would still be like affected emotionally by what other people said. You know, like, oh, you said that and like it hurt me, or I would value other people's opinions over my own experience.
And so do you try to avoid people like that now?
No, I don't.
And how do you handle it?
I just don't. I mean, I don't really get into situations where people are like emotionally or verbally abusive anymore, because I just, you know, my life is different now because I've allowed the Father to be a part of it, and so the light comes in, and so because of that, other things fall away. So I'm not in situations like that. And, you know, like my sister, for example, can be like emotionally abusive in her words, but I don't allow it to affect me anymore. It's just like.
Do you still deal with her at times?
Yeah, but it's, you know, like we don't live in the same city, so I don't really have as much interaction with her. But, you know, like the holidays are coming up, so obviously, like, I'll be seeing her.
Right. And how you feel about thinking about you're going to be seeing her?
I actually haven't thought about it until I just said that right now. I'm not worried about
When you had the thought right now, what do you feel about it?
It'll just be another experience like anything else. I recognize now that like she doesn't have any power over me, and her opinions of me aren't true. It's just her, it's how she perceives it.
Oh, okay. Amazing. Yes, sir.
To me, there is no such thing as verbal or emotional abuse.
And why do you say that?
That's just the ego response to a world it cannot control.
And so why do you feel bad at times when people treat you a certain way?
I expect everybody to be with me.
Oh, you feel bad because you expect everyone to be with you?
I expect everyone to like me. You heard that old saying, that who is not with me can be nothing but against me.
And why do you expect people to like you?
Because I always saw myself as a good person, and I know that's not true.
And how do you see yourself now?
As an evil person.
What does that mean?
That that I failed to be a good person.
What is a good person?
A good person is somebody who does not do anything to hurt his fellow human.
So you hurt other people?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. Amazing. Interesting. Yes.
So the question,
Is there such a thing as verbal or emotional abuse? No. Speak up for me.
no.
And is that mic working?
Hello.
I don't hear it in the
1, 2,
speaker.
1, 2. Testing.
I hear it now. Go ahead. And why do you
so
there's no such thing as verbal abuse?
So as a child, I went through verbal and emotional
No,
abuse.
do this first. There's no such thing as verbal abuse.
Correct.
And so when people are cursing you out, sending you bad email, that's not verbal abuse?
No.
What is that?
It's just that's their reaction. That's just them, vomiting out whatever that's inside of them. I always look at myself to see if it's true. From my experience, I used to be very emotional. And
what did that feel
angry,
like?
And that just feels like hell. You feel depressed, you feel emotional, and you go up and down. If they give you bad stuff, then you feel bad.
So when people told you things that what you thought was nice and good about you, you would feel good about it, right?
Yes. Oh, my ego.
And was that
loved
hell
it.
too?
No, my ego loved it. My ego was.
But you consider that not to be hell?
That was joy. I
But it wasn't
loved it.
hell?
What's that?
That wasn't hell?
No, that was joy.
And so
That was
joy
happiness.
is not hell?
When I lived in that world, that's what I lived for. I lived for the woman saying, "You're handsome, you're 6 feet tall, you're
But why do you say
strong."
that that's not hell, what I'm trying to understand?
Now I look back at it and I can see that it's hell. But at that time, as a young man, that was joy. That's what I lived for. That's what I lived for. And my friends lived for that too.
You don't live for that now at all?
I gotta admit I do. I have an
Being
ego.
honest. Huh?
I have an ego.
Oh, okay. Amazing.
So I want to make a comment. I wish my father was here so I can cuss him out.
You wish your father was alive?
I wish my father was here so I could express myself.
Here at the meeting or alive?
What's that?
At the meeting or alive?
Both.
Why do you wish that?
Because he's gone and I miss him, and I repented to my father for hating him and being angry.
But why do
at him.
you wish that he was here so you can curse him out?
I wish I had a chance to talk to him.
Why?
I miss him.
Why?
Because he's gone.
Amazing.
And so anyways, my
That's
comment.
That's insane.
Okay, I'll take that. And
That's
so-
emotional verbal abuse.
And so, as a son, my father put me through all kinds of torment, and I didn't understand at the time. A lot of it was his stuff, but
Make a long story short.
you got to accept what is your, what happened to you and your experience, and as a son, being able to respond back to my father and tell him, you did this, this, and this, and most,
Make a long story short.
I remember doing that with my mom. My mom did not realize she was tormenting me and did not realize that she was causing this kind of anguish in me. It's when I repented, I became free. But the key is being able to go to your parent and tell them exactly.
But if you still have an ego now, feeling that way, how are you free?
What's that?
If you still have an ego, and how are you free?
Well, Snake's got my foot, he still has me.
And so how are you free then?
I am freer than I was yesterday.
What does that mean, freer?
That means that,
So you could be a little bit enslaved?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Nice.
I'm the example.
Yes, ma'am. And then I got to move on, 'cause so much I want to get to. Yes. Is there such a thing as verbal or emotional abuse?
I think it's there. I don't really.
So you think verbal abuse is there and emotional?
Yeah,
And what is verbal abuse?
it's just projections of another person that they're trying to throw onto you, and I think I can like pick up from a little bit of something that everyone has said. I was in a verbal and emotional abuse at one point, and my dad would always tell me that's just his feelings because this person feels like that. So they want to throw that onto you.
Right.
So I would never let that bother me. And it wasn't until it got physical where I was just like, okay, we're done. And so really, I don't think, I mean, it's there, but I don't believe in it either. And I do believe that other people can, you know, continue to project those feelings or their own feelings onto other people, which makes them believe that or emotional and verbal abuse exist.
What do you remember what verbal abuse felt like to you?
My dad really, when I was going through it at that moment,
Yeah.
I remember my dad would just tell me, kind of like block it off. So it was just kind of like, it hurt. I'm not gonna lie, it did hurt, but
And what did the hurt feel like?
like sad, I guess. It wasn't, I would kind of like numb myself to it. Like I didn't want to feel it. I didn't want to feel what I was supposed to feel. So I would kind of like numb myself to it
How did you numb yourself?
by blocking it out.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And it was still hurt?
Sometimes, not always, but sometimes it did.
And what does emotional abuse feel like?
I don't know. Verbal is different. Oh, I don't know. Because I never really got to the point to where I let my emotions get the best of me. Because I didn't want that person to see that they took that from me.
Oh, okay. Have you ever been a verbal or emotional abuser?
Yeah,
You have been?
yeah.
And why did you do it to others knowing what it felt like to you?
Because
You tried
I
to-
thought that was the right thing to do. I wanted them to feel what they were doing to me. So I said, okay, well, here you go.
But why did you do that if your father told you what was going on? You
Because
said
I'm
you-
a woman, Jesse. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
And did you know at the time, hey, I'm verbally abusing this person?
Yeah.
You knew what you were doing when you were doing it?
Yes.
And why'd you do it?
Because the ego feels good.
Oh, I see.
I was feeding the ego.
But you knew it didn't feel good to you when it happened to you, right?
Yeah. And honestly, this is one thing that I can say. When I finished the abusing, like me, myself, I would feel like crap. Because I was like, damn, I know this is so wrong. So I knew that what I was doing was wrong. But at that moment, I was feeding the ego. And it felt great. And then it's like a high. You take this like, you know, you're going off and then
Right.
you come down and you're like, oh, like it's just a really nasty feeling.
But it's like a high.
It's like a high, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it felt good. It felt really good. Like
To be an abuser?
to be an abuser.
Amazing. Okay. Have you ever verbally or emotionally abused anyone?
Yeah. My dad would be emotional, and I would want to get back at him. Actually, for the first while, it was just hurtful, and I would just cry about it. And then I think I remember consciously saying to myself, "I'm not going to take this anymore," and I started just getting back at him, trying to be hurtful to him.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And it felt good? It felt high?
In the moment, yeah. And
Yeah.
then slowly I just got more and more emotional. And to go back to what Alex was talking about, the best thing my dad did was back off. And I started to see that I was exactly like him. And then I was able to forgive him. And,
Amazing.
yeah.
Okay. Yes, sir. Is there such a thing as verbal or emotional abuse?
Earlier this week, I said no, but now I'm saying yes.
There is verbal abuse?
Yeah.
And what is that?
It is anytime we talk to ourselves or believe the thoughts, we're committing it on ourselves. We're committing the verbal abuse when we talk to ourselves and believe that it's not the devil that we're talking to. And we're committing emotional abuse when we believe the thoughts and do that.
So you're saying yes, it does exist?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But only on the person, we only can commit it on ourselves.
Were you verbally abused this week when you realized dog didn't have love? Don't have love.
No,
Was that emotional?
no.
And so what was it like? Because you thought your dog loved you.
No, I know he does have love. But earlier this week when I did say no, there is no, it's because I've been accused of being a verbal and emotional abuser.
And were you?
For a long time. Well, up until just 20 minutes ago, I believed that it didn't exist out of defense that all those people were wrong. But I guess in a lot of ways, I was just emotionally and verbally abusing myself while I was doing it to those people.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I do believe that verbal abuse exists because there are people in this world who know that there are other people vulnerable to words, like children or even some adults too, or mentally handicapped people. Like they use words to intimidate and manipulate. And I think that's a form of abuse too.
And so if another person uses words to hurt you, it's just another person standing there trying to hurt you with words, right?
Yeah, they're trying to control or
And what is
intimidate or
wrong, what is
manipulate,
wrong
yeah.
with you that you take it on?
Well, that's the thing. You know, there are people who are weak, and taking advantage of a weak person, that's a form of abuse.
Have you been verbally abused?
Well, as a child, I used to, you know, my parents used to, like, yell at me, but you know, it's part of growing up. You know, when a kid misbehaves, sometimes parents use strong words or they whoop you and all that. But now I don't hold it against them. But you know, as a kid, you're easily.
So they did the right thing by verbally abusing you?
Well, I mean, their heart was in the right place. I mean, they disciplined me, you know.
So when they were verbally and emotionally abusing you, their heart was in the right place?
Well, everyone's in the fallen state, right? They did the best they could, you know.
But did you say their heart was in the right place?
Yeah, they thought they were.
How was their heart in the
disciplining.
right place trying to hurt their children?
Well, I mean, I don't think it was their intention. They just wanted discipline, and that was the only way they knew how to discipline.
But you said their heart was in the right place.
Well, I think they thought that their heart was. I mean, 'cause we're probably in the fall. You know, we're all in the fallen state. You know, so I mean, they just raised me the way they were raised. You know, it's a cycle that repeats.
But why did
you
you
know?
say their heart was in the right place?
Well, I guess it's just a saying that most of us repeat, but we don't really know what it means. Just what I wanted to say, you know, they thought they were doing the right thing. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. You know, I don't,
But you make a good point. Isn't it interesting? We say things
yeah,
that
we don't know what they mean.
We don't even know what it means, but it make us look good when we say it, and it give our impression we know what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's
right.
all ego.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But you, right here. Have you ever? Is there such a thing as verbal or emotional abuse?
Those are two different things.
Right. So, is there verbal abuse?
Verbal abuse, I think you can be an abuser.
Is there such thing as verbal abuse?
Yeah.
And what
there
is it?
I mean, verbal abuse is when you're kind of attacking someone. I'm looking at it from the abuser perspective. You're attacking someone else and you're getting a sense of ego to feel, you know, kind of like she was saying, like, I feel good about myself. So I'm going to put this person down by saying something that would could emotionally affect this person. So it's kind of, they go hand in hand, right? You verbally say something to emotionally abuse the other person. So I say, yeah, it exists.
And how about emotional abuse?
Yeah.
Because some
it does
people say,
exist.
oh, they emotionally abuse me. And you say, yes, there is such a thing as that.
Yeah, I do.
And what is that? What does that feel like?
I mean, you know, myself and everybody in this room, we grew up with these two people or parents, whatever, at least 18 years of our life, and we spend the rest of our lives trying to get over it. All that emotional abuse that happened the first essential years of being impressionable was hurting us emotionally, and our ego grew and our spirit was broken. So we're trying to overcome that ego by lifting the spirit. So I think the emotion abuse happens when you were born as a child.
What does emotional abuse feel like?
It feels like it's true. It feels like if somebody tells you, you know, you're fat or you're ugly or you're dumb or you're stupid, you're slow, when they tell you something like that and you think it and you feel it and you believe it, so it feels like it's true. So then you start telling yourself, yeah, blah, 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 whatever this person said of me. So then the emotion abuse that happens when you're repeating that cycle in your head.
Have you ever been verbal or emotional abused?
Yeah.
Have you ever been an abuser?
Yeah.
You have? Why did you do it?
I did it because I think in the moment I was just angry and I allowed my anger, and I went unconscious straight up. I think after, like, she was saying, you go and you go on the attack or whatever, and in those moments I'm unconscious and I'm just, well, you did this and you that and blah, blah, whatever I'm saying, and I'm just gone. But in the moment my ego came up and the not me took over, and then I become this other person, and it just feels good. It feels empowering.
And how do you deal with it now?
Now, before I react, I feel it kind of like bubbling up. There's still instances daily where something happens, whether at work or at home. I feel it bubbling up, and then I kind of stare at it, like if I'm staring at a picture, and I wonder, like, is this true? And then I'm able to discern if it's true or not. Like, we were talking about the holidays coming up with the family, and I'm thinking, oh, shoot, I have to go see my mom, or I have to go over here. And then, my kids have told me things like, oh, I don't feel comfortable during these moments. And then I have to really discern what's going to be beneficial to my family, and what do I want them to go through. Oh. Is it going to be to feed my ego? And yeah, Mom, here we are, whatever.
Are you going to go?
I don't think so.
Do you want to go?
I want to go.
But you don't want to go?
No.
And are you going to be afraid to tell her I'm not coming?
I'm not going to lie, yeah, I am going to be afraid. But, I mean, the fear's there. I can't say that I'm fearless, but the fear will be there.
And why?
Because, I guess thinking about it, it's just tradition. I think it's tradition because I'm taught that it's tradition. So the fear of, hey, I'm not going to come, I'm going to do this instead, there's this little fear inside of me saying, well, you're a bad son and you're bad this and blah, blah, blah. So that voice inside is talking to me and telling me that.
So you're afraid that she may say you're a bad son?
No, I'm afraid to feel like I'm a bad son.
And what does that feeling feel like?
Like I'm disappointing my parents and I'm not following tradition. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go because of it. I'm just saying that I'm aware that the feelings are there and they're creeping up.
Are you going to go?
No.
Oh, you're not going to go?
No, we're not going to go. But I'm acknowledging that I'm going to feel that ego pain.
So you expect to feel that pain?
I already feel it.
You already feel it? Having to tell them, you haven't said no yet, right?
Right.
And so you're already feeling it before it even happened.
It's like when I went to go forgive my mom, and before I did it, I felt through all that mess.
So which holiday?
Both. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, all the above.
So you feel all the holiday pain?
All the holiday pains. It's supposed to be a happy time of the year, but it just becomes abusive, because you feel this pressure, you meaning myself, I feel this pressure that I have to. But in thinking about it, like, it just doesn't make sense to my wife and my kids. Like, we don't gain anything.
Isn't it interesting you feeling the pain and Thanksgiving or Christmas, none of the holidays are here yet.
Right.
So why are you living in the future like that?
That's a good question. I don't know. I can't tell. I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know why I'm living in the future.
Illusion, right? There is no future.
No, there is no future. It's only now. But I don't know. I guess I'm already mentally preparing myself for something.
But why not? Why not prepare yourself by letting that thought go? Don't even dwell on it at all.
That's what I'm going through. So I've been doing the silent prayer, even throughout the day, just to allow that pain to pass. For me, it's become so embedded, and I've allowed it to identify with like a leech. It's there.
Yeah.
So even if you take the leech out, you still feel like the rim of the sucking of the blood, whatever it's doing, it still hurts.
Yeah.
So
it's amazing that everybody in the whole wide world feels the same thing.
Right. Yep.
Everyone has fear.
Yep.
Every human being has fear. Well, you don't know for sure yet, but do you think it's possible to live without fear at all?
I know it is, yeah.
And how do you know it is?
Because I've experienced it. I've had glimpses of it where there's been moments where I just feel bliss, like I feel nothing.
But why do you not hold on to that?
That's a good question. I don't know how to do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, last word. Did you have your hand about this?
I did. I was just going to say that sounds like
Is that working?
emotional abuse that he's doing to himself.
What do you mean?
So he's in his head about, oh man, I'm going to disappoint my parents. I'm going to disappoint this. I'm going to not even think. I mean, it sounds like he is thinking about his family, his immediate family, but really he's in his head about what may transpire on some future date. And I mean, that's got to be torment in itself.
Yeah.
So I was kind of joking when I said it, but really that's the emotional abuse.
Okay. Last word. I can tell you've been abused.
What does that mean?
Is there such a thing as verbal or emotional abuse?
I don't think so, no.
You don't think either one exists?
I don't think so.
And why?
I don't, it's kind of confusing, but in the simplest way that I can,
A little louder for
in the
us?
simplest way that I can kind of make it
Speak
make
up.
sense to myself
Speak from the chest.
is,
Otherwise, I'm emotionally, verbally abuse you right now.
I don't know, it just seems like, it seems like nothing in the world is personal. Like the attacks, the abuse, it just seems like an illusion to me. And so, because I don't feel like anything in the world is personal, it's kind of just things on the outside. It seems like it's kind of like a spiritual weakness in a sense that you go unconscious or you, you let the ego take hold in a sense. It's not like in how she was describing about getting this text message that hurt her and that she didn't want to look at it. I don't think even those attacks, they can be calling at you directly. I don't think that that's
Have you
personal
ever
stuff.
felt verbal abuse before?
No, I don't think so.
In your whole life?
I don't think so.
Wow.
Like
Have
it-
you ever felt emotional abuse?
I've had emotional responses to people's actions and words, sure, but I don't think that it was in me, the response. It wasn't the
But have you ever felt emotional abuse?
No, because the abuse just seems like that's fake to me. It just seems like it's not real. It's how you receive it. And I've never personally felt like even words or responses were abusive.
So in your whole life, you never felt it?
I don't think
Not
so.
from your parents or anyone?
No, I mean I've had emotional responses, but I wouldn't call it abuse.
What do you mean emotional responses?
Like if somebody says something to me and I maybe feel a little like a pull or something strange, it was hurtful, sure, but I don't consider it abusive. I think to consider it abusive, you kind of have to like point it back at the other person. You did this to me, and kind of like sit in that. And I kind of knew that stuff is the stuff that kind of festers and what kind of sticks to you. And so.
So all your life you felt that way?
Yeah.
And were your parents like that or something?
No, I mean, even like in discipline, and my parents would never really say hurtful things. I understood it more so as discipline, as things that kind of, it's just their response to how they're talking to me right now. And I would sure like get sad or feel it in myself, but I wouldn't like respond back.
Oh,
at
you
it.
will have those emotions,
Yeah.
but you didn't call it abuse.
No.
I see what
it
you're
It
saying.
didn't really feel like abuse to me. It was just emotion, and it was a response.
Oh,
that
I got
had.
you. Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Amazing.
So I don't think it exists.
Have you ever done that to anyone?
I'm sure I've said hurtful things.
You have?
But I kind of.
Have you ever done that to anyone?
Yeah, I was always kind of more careful with my words.
Have you ever done that to anyone?
Probably.
Have you ever done that to anyone?
Yes. Yes.
Why do you just let your answer be yes right away instead of long words?
It doesn't feel right.
Just say yes?
Yeah.
And what does that feel like to just say yes?
I don't know. It's simpler to say yes or no, but maybe
I
it's 'cause I
said
don't-
let your word be yay
Yes,
or nay,
it's true.
right? But people like to have a whole bunch of words to
know.
say because even that is ego.
It's true.
So what your ego was at work the reason you didn't say
Probably
yes?
just now, yeah.
It was?
Yeah.
So what do it feel like recognizing that now?
we don't need so many words. It's true.
Right.
We don't need it. It's simple, and the truth is simple, and the truth is yes or no.
It's amazing how free we can become with less words,
It's
fewer
true.
words. But the ego wants you to use a whole bunch of words. People go unconscious when they, have you noticed you go unconscious when you start talking and you just go on and on about nothing.
It's true.
But in the unconscious state, you think you're saying something.
It's true.
That's why God said, let your yes be yes and your no be no. That way you can stay conscious.
Well, it's the mind that's going, right? It's everything else. It's trying to, you overthink things, right? You say things and you think that maybe, I don't know, like you want to make sense, I guess. You want to.
But you end up making no sense.
I know, it's true. It's true. But, in processing things, I think we tend to, or at least I tend to over maybe think, and then that kind of comes out, and it's a lot of words. It's true.
Yeah. What do you think about let your yes answer be yes or no rather than a whole bunch of words, Frankie?
Yes.
Frankie.
Well, let me think about that. I just think that you have to say what's on your mind. And when you say yes, that may be 100 words. And so.
What?
I'm joking.
Oh.
I'm joking. The bad joke. Yeah. Yes should be yes, and no should be no.
Is it hard for you to let?
Yes, it's hard. For
Why?
Me. Because I'm emotional, or I've a lot of times I've not really thought about it, and so I have to smoke on it, and
Did you know that God wants us to say yes or no? Sometimes you have to use more than yes or no, but it's rare, so that we can stay conscious.
I haven't thought about that. I haven't talked to God about that, but as far as where I'm at right now, I have a tendency of answering the question too quickly and not thinking deeply enough about it. And so what I've learned is I need to kind of, because I'm kind of slow.
Do you go unconscious when you talk?
I do.
Yeah.
And I'm
that's
kinda
why he
slow.
wanted you to have few words. Be slow to speak and quick to hear, because pay attention. You're going to see when you start talking, you go unconscious. I can see people going unconscious now, and they talk about nothing, and you're standing there thinking, I wish they would be quiet, because you're too afraid to tell them, hey, that's enough.
The biggest thing that I
But
discovered.
he wants us to stay conscious.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I discovered about myself is that I would have a friend, and I admired my friend, and in my ego and imagination, I lifted it up, that friend,
What
to
does
be
that
a
have
king.
to do with let your answer be yes or no?
It's the same principle. Instead of just being yes or no, and it's the same thing as my friend just being a friend and just seeing them in reality. And I would make up things just like I would make up things when I'm answering as yes or no or no. I would
Okay.
make things up.
All right, thank you. What the? In all honesty, not one human being on this earth has ever been verbal or emotional abuse. Not one, ever. You have never done it to anyone, and it has never been done to you. Isn't that amazing? And so all your suffering has been hell. You're living in hell thinking that is you. Because you get thoughts and feelings, and because you have identified with them, and it's in the body, it feels like it's you. And so the devil would tell you, oh, you're being abused. And the devil inside of you and the devil outside of you and other people would tell you you're being abused. And so you start saying the same thing. And once you start saying it, you start to believe it. And what you really should do is just watch it. You need to not try to go around people that's going to do that to you, but you should not be trying to avoid them. You have to go into the fire so you can come out on the other side of the fire. And so when you're feeling pain of any form, it's physical, medical pain, you need to be happy for that. And you're not going to jump up and down and be happy. Oh, I'm happy, I'm feeling bad, right? But you need to have a attitude of you knowing that it's not you at all, so that you don't run from it. And knowing that you, no matter how rough it gets, you're going to go all the way through the fire to the other side so you can be free. Because what's really happening is that you're overcoming the not you. You're not the thoughts, you're not the pain. Even the so-called pain that feel good. You think, oh, I feel so good right now. That's hell. But you call that heaven. Because you think you're not having pain because you're feeling good, right? But you're really having pain when you're feeling good as well. And as soon as you relax into feel good stuff, then another thought gonna come and you're gonna overreact to that too. Or someone else or a situation will happen and now you're down. But if you knew, and you will start to see that this is really not you at all, then you will not run away from it at all. Even when the devil is doing it to you inside of you, and when others are doing it to you outside, you just welcome it by not running away from it. But be glad to feel it so you can see it's not you in order to overcome it. And you should never, ever, 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 but never, 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 ever say, how long is this going to last? This pain is so great. I thought about you last week when you said you wanted to cuss, when you had that pain. And that's even the devil wanting you to curse. Because any attempt like that is trying to save yourself. You're trying to save yourself. You have not realized that of yourself you could do nothing, and of yourself you know nothing. We literally can't do anything about it. And so when we do cry out to God or how long is this going to last or why me, you're really crying out to the devil and he will save you from it just to give you more of it. But if you go through it with stillness and quietness, don't even run around sharing it with anybody else, because you don't want another person to feel sorry for you and save you from it. Because all they really would have done is dug a deeper hole for you. They just put it off for another moment. Because in another moment, it's going to be right back. You're not saved from it. So stop responding to the devil inside of you and the devil outside of you in other people. We are the world, and the same hell that you're catching inside of you is going on with everybody, politicians and everybody. When they fight wars, that's why they're fighting the war, because of the hell that's in them. And they think by fighting somebody else in war, that it's going to make them feel good because they have control of the people, they think, right? But once they so-called win the war, they realize that hasn't satisfied them at all. So now they go somewhere and start up another war to try to prove that they're the strongest. And that's what you do to yourself and to other people. You have never been emotionally or verbal abused at all. And as soon as you stop identifying with that thing, that's hell, that's all it is. It's the devil's nature. I was thinking about how we are all possessed with the spirit of the devil. And I used to think I wasn't possessed with the spirit of the devil, because I thought the spirit of the devil would look like that woman in The Exorcist or something like that. or when the Catholic priests go and rebuke the devil out of somebody, they throw up and all that kind of stuff. I thought of that as being possessed by the devil. I didn't know feeling anger or feeling good was a possession of the devil. To blame others is possessed of the devil. That we're not in control of that at all. And I don't want you to come up with an idea of what the real you look like, because any idea about it is wrong too. Because all ideas about God, about your real self, all ideas are coming from the devil. They're not your idea. That's why when you read the Bible and the preacher preach about God, you get a wrong impression about what God looked like, who he is, and you be trying to meet that impression and you never do. Because you don't realize that all thoughts are from the devil. Practical thoughts are fine. Put gas in your car and all that, but all thoughts are from the devil, and everyone who into thoughts have fear. There's not one on earth that do not have fear. We all must be born again. And so to overcome the thoughts, you got to overcome the imagination. You got to forgive, and once the heart is changed, as Nick read the scripture, the truth is in us, and the truth will change things if you let it happen, but you got to die. And it would be as though you never had a past or future, because they're both illusions, but you got to let the truth change it. The truth is powerful. There is no power in the lie. There's only power in the truth. And the truth is God, and God will reverse your life and everything will be fine. Because he doesn't judge at all. So when you're feeling good, don't judge it. And when you're feeling bad, don't judge it. When you see these crazy thoughts and things, don't judge it. Do not have an opinion about either one. Let all opinions go, because when you do, you're playing God. You and the devil are one. Isn't that amazing? And you're going to start seeing this because the Holy Spirit is in you. The truth is in you. And as the not you is dying, the truth will be revealed. And the things that I'm telling you now, you start to see them too. It'll just be clear. Yes, sir. It will become clear. But you got to die. Yes.
That happened to me yesterday. I was at the store, and all of a sudden I noticed I was feeling like jittery, or maybe nervous is the right word, I don't know. But kind of like I felt jittery. And it took everything in me to just be like, not try to figure out what was going on with me.
Don't try to figure it out, because the devil will figure it out for you.
He has words and everything for it. But it literally took, and I'm in line, just going through what I'm going through, and I'm paying, but I'm aware, but I'm in and out of my awareness a little bit. Finally it just vanished.
Yeah.
But it took everything I had not to come up with some idea of why I was feeling this way.
Just think about that. How many times that has happened to everybody? You're just in a grocery line, and all of a sudden you have a thought, but because you didn't see that thought, it shakes you. It's like a shock. And now you wonder, what's wrong with me? Why did I have that shock? But when you have those shocks, be glad for those shocks, because they wake you up to what's happening inside. But don't call it you. Don't fight against it. Just relax in it. And you go shake in your boots, because when the shock is happening, the devil is telling you something else is going to happen. This is why it happened. That's going to happen. My son is all bad. I hate my son, right? And it's not the boy. It's not the son. It's you. It's in you. It's in us. But that's why God said we have to die from that. And so don't ever argue with the devil inside of you and with the devil inside. Don't answer to the devil outside of you, meaning people that try to hurt you or make you feel good. It's just devils fighting, and that's what the devil wants. There's no rule book that says you must respond. And if you notice, people who do respond, they lose, because they're responding to the devil. But they don't realize that's the devil in them. They think they're protecting themselves because they're worried about what other people are going to think about them. And that's all ego, so you're still operating with the devil. You got to either let go, or you're just going to stay in hell. And that shock will come when you're unaware. Amazing, right? This is so deep, but yet so simple, and yet so deep. But you got to pay attention to what's going on in your hell and know it's not you. And you can't ever, if you want to be free, if you don't want to be free, you can. But you cannot become free by blaming anyone for what you feel or think. If they make you feel good, if they make you feel bad, you can't blame them for that. That's you not paying attention and your unwillingness to die because you think it's you. Your son is not making you feel anything. That's the devil in you. But because you're not paying attention to you, the devil got you blaming him. Oh, he's disrespecting me. I'm his father. That don't mean anything. That's just all ego trip. If you worry about somebody respecting you, then you got problems. Because you're going to try to carry yourself like you need to be respected. You know what I mean? You just got to be, just have your life, just live your life and let it be. Ain't nothing there to respect but an illusion. And ain't nothing there for you to respect your father or your mother or your brother or your sister or your so-called friend. It's an illusion. And if the real you, if you live with the real you, you're going to treat everybody right anyway, even your enemy, because you wouldn't be trying to hurt anyone or make them feel good. You treat everybody the same, including your kids. And there would be no difference. I saw, yes, real fast.
I had a question for you. What do you think the value in like asking the question why is? Because who, what, where, when, those all seem very easily, let it be yay or nay, but then we get into the why of like what Doug's talking about, and that's where you just start running in your head. So I'm curious if you find any value in that question, why, the why of things.
There is no value in it. It doesn't work. The only thing that works is observation.
Yeah.
The questions don't work.
Beautiful. That's what I thought. I just want to make sure.
The only thing is observation. You can read the Bible until the cows come home and know the word upside down. You can hear me speaking about this or any other speaker and know it upside down, but it's not going to change you. The only thing that will change you is observation. So as he grow into this, he's going to stop asking why, because he's going to see why. He's going to know why. He will know. Yes, Doug.
So one thing I've learned about me is that when I do ask why, it takes me so far that way that there is no peace in it. There's no nothing.
That's right.
And if I would have asked why in that moment, I would have come up with something would have come up with all these answers.
The devil
and it
would
have
have
been nothing, but it would have never vanished. It would have stayed with me probably the rest of the day.
Absolutely.
But it vanished because and I'm not saying I wasn't in and out of my thoughts, because I was.
Yeah.
But I was aware enough to know that I just need to deal with it. I have no idea what this is. Just go through it.
Just watch it and let it happen. The only thing that's going to change it is observation, observing it. And that's the light of God shining on the darkness, and it will destroy it. It's not you at all. But we need observation. We need the light. That's why when you forgive, the light comes on. It does come on. And then eventually you start to realize, hey, I need to die from this. It's not me. The light will cause you to see that. And that's when you start, it's not easy because you're so identified with it, but you like gradually drag yourself along. And a little bit of dragging yourself along with that pain cause you to see, oh, that was pretty good. I got past that. And it makes you want to do it more. And it causes you want to do it more. And it causes you to want to do it more until eventually you don't have to do it anymore. You will be free from it, but you got to be willing to suffer through it. Because, and honestly, you're not suffering. It's the suffering of the devil's nature that's suffering. Because he doesn't want to depart from your soul. Any question about that? You got to stay conscious. And most people are not going to do this because it's too hard. They're so identified with it. They love their hell. And all they're going to ever do is go from group to group to group to group, find something outside to identify with, because they are afraid or don't know that they need to go through it alone. Don't be whimpering and whining and complaining about it. Don't be putting your sorrows upon other people. You got to go through it alone. That makes sense? And the average person is not going to do it. Only a few will find that straight and narrow path and stay there no matter what. Because situations are going to be happening along your way through the fire, and the devil's going to be telling you, oh, how do they see you now? Or they don't respect you, or look what you've lost, right? And if you're on that ego trip and not understanding that you've lost nothing but ego, but the nature of the devil, you'll stay with it. You're gaining more than you ever would lose. The only thing you're going to lose is the hell that you've been living in. And Christ came that we might be free. Amazing, right? Amazing. So do the silent prayer and watch. Watch, and you'll be fine. Any question about that? So here is, because of time here is my, I want, and the reason I'm asking you to do it because I've been doing it, right? And it works. Here's what in order to get there, along this way, this week, for 1 week only, because once you do it for a week, you're not going to want to stop doing it. From now on, I want you to make sure your mind is in the same place your body. If you're sitting in this chair in this meeting, everything should be here. Not thinking about what's going to happen later today, not thinking about what's going to happen lunch, not thinking about, I got to call my son and apologize, but keep your mind where your body is located, because the body is always in the present. It's not in time. It's in eternal. And so you want to keep your mind there and watch what's going to happen. So this week, I want you to practice keeping your mind where your body is. Even when you're driving, don't be thinking about any of that stuff. Practice being aware of driving. And sometimes when you're watching TV or a movie or something, put the TV on pause and see where you are in the room. Be aware of yourself in the room. And it's going to be amazing. We all do that. I can't wait to hear what happened. And you're going to see, I didn't know it was this difficult to keep my mind where my body is. Even when you're talking in this meeting and other meeting, keep your mind where your body is. That way you don't go on and on and on about nothing, and now folks don't know what you're talking about. Anybody really? That makes sense? Keep your mind where your body is. Where's your mind right now? Here. Is it? Where's yours?
When you said that, I was like, When you said that, I was like, that's interesting. It sounds like a challenge, because I was just thinking, I got to go to Trader Joe's and get some orange juice. So, yeah. Thinking about orange juice.
Keep your mind where your body is. Where's your mind right now?
Me?
Uh-huh.
Well, currently it's right here. But then again, I got to go run some errands, but I got to think about that too, right?
But when you're doing the practical things of going to run the errand, that's practical. So you're going to go unconscious for a minute, but as soon as you get it done, come back to your body. Yeah, come back to your body. You're going to go in and out of this because you're not accustomed to living with the body. It's like when you're showering, you think about your body, you think about getting the shower done, I got to be at work, I got to do this and do that. You're thinking about some movie you watch or something. All right? So that's the assignment for this week. Keep your mind where your body is. Amazing. Brand new biblical question. Are you a possessive person? Are you a possessive person? Are you a possessive person?
I guess as a dad, you would say yes.
Are you a possessive person?
Yes.
Amazing, okay. So
Because-
practice being conscious when you speak too, okay? Because you get relaxed with the mic. I noticed that you get relaxed. My son killed my dog. You know, stay conscious. Stay with your body when you speak.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Okay. Are you a possessive person?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
In what way?
With things or people that make me feel, I don't know, I don't, I can't put a word behind it, but just something that makes me feel like there's purpose behind it, or if I feel like I'm going to lose control, there you go.
Oh,
I like to
okay.
be possessive with something to feel that I have control.
Amazing. Are you a possessive person?
Me?
Uh-huh.
No.
Don't answer for him, Mama.
I don't know what it means.
I'm sorry?
I don't know what it means.
You're just saying his words now.
Oh.
See how you put words on your mouth?
Yeah. I think I am.
You think you are? In what way?
I don't know.
Okay. That's the right answer. You don't know, you just don't know. But watch how you put words in the children's mouth. Let them find their own words, right? And if they don't know, they'll say, I don't know, or if they don't say anything, don't you feel embarrassed or like they need to be talking? And if the person that they're talking to don't like it, that's on them. They got problems. And that way the kids will grow up being independent thinkers. All right? Amazing. Last word. Yes, sir. With the green shirt, yeah. Look how, see how relaxed you get?
Okay,
you
okay,
slide
okay.
down in that
Okay,
chair.
I do not gotta stand up in my seat.
Be present with your body.
Okay, yeah, you're right. I'm a slacker. Okay, possessiveness. I have to let go of overly parenting my
No,
son.
stop parenting. He doesn't need your parenting at all. He's a grown man now. He's a grown man. You can't even guide your own life. How you guide him?
I do the best I can.
Right, which is wrong.
Weak beta male, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to get there.
Okay.
I'm trying to endure. I'm trying to overcome. And trying to that thing where your body is always in the present. Keep your mind where your body is, or in the present, is crazy good advice.
Yeah.
So don't live in the past. Don't live in the future. Just
Right.
live in the now.
Yeah.
So
You
nailed it.
I want y'all to know you're going to, I'm saying this and it seems like it might be easy, I guess, but it's not. But don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just do it. Just do it. All right, so stay present with your body this week. Become your own man, your own woman. Stay with the prayer and just know in the end, once you go through the fire, it's all over. You'll be free. All right? And let everybody else say and do what they want. They have their own hell. They have the same hell you're trying to overcome. Every human being are born in sin. So every human being must be born of the Spirit of God. I don't care what the race is, how old, how young, whatever. All right? So stay with it. And thank you for your support. We're out of time. Men's Forum, I think the Men's Forum, right? Yeah, Men's Forum. That's amazing. It's going to be. It's like November, right? Wow. November already. So Men's Forum this Thursday, if the Lord is willing and the creek don't rise. And another announcement, a nice announcement. This Tuesday, I have a guest host that will be hosting the HakeReport.com. Nick think he know who it is. Because you asked me, he told me, I know who it is. He asked me who was it, who is it, I wouldn't tell him. I know who it is. The devil went to work real fast. But you're going to be surprised. It's going to be amazing. You're going to like it. So he's going to guest host the Hake Report this Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And we're looking for other people to guest host too. And so from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., tune in for the amazing surprise of the HakeReport.com. All right? So stay on that straight and narrow, folks, and let life happen. You'll be fine. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good one. And thank you all for coming. Amazing.